The Spanish mercenaries, the conquistadors, did some truly horrible things to the indigenous peoples of South America and Mesoamerica. This is well known. Now, one of the first concepts to force onto a conquered people that you want to suppress is belief systems. So priests were an important part of the arsenal of the conquistadors. The subsequent colonization entailed the immigration of different categories of Europeans. And the general oppression continued for the most part, of course. But the process gained more different kinds of facets. Overall, however, the church was instrumental in the suppression of indigenous traditions. Physical force and coercion were used, and everything that was deemed idolatry was banned. Many indigenous religious artifacts and places of worship were destroyed and replaced with churches or other colonial features, colonial buildings or something. In this video, however, I will focus on two very special sites in the vicinity of Cusco, which may have been a tiny bit too mysterious for the church to know how to destroy and replace. They're both stunning and have a very ancient feel to them. And one can only imagine what the purpose of these structures was originally. One of the mysterious and spiritually charged sites that I visited in Peru and Bolivia, Ñaupa Huaca, is probably the one that made the strongest impression on me. Not many non-locals get to see this awe-inspiring place. I was fortunate enough to participate in one of Brian Forster's tours, and he sometimes takes people there. This was a sacred place when the Spaniards arrived, and it still is. Spiritual ceremonies are still taking place here, and no wonder. Halfway from Cusco to Machu Picchu, in the vicinity of Ollantaytambo, the Ñaupa Huaca cave is fairly isolated and difficult to climb up to. The first thing you see of it as you climb up the mountain slope is a triangular-shaped cave. When you arrive, you see two structures with laser-sharp features cut into the hard andesite stone, a double alcove or a false double doorway, you might say, in the middle of a glass-smooth wall, and a sculpture that looks like a strange altar or throne, or as the website Megalithic Marvels puts it, the cockpit of a spaceship.
Todos los lugares ancestrales sagrados,
all the ancestral places, all the sacred places,
siempre están dentro de una cueva.
they will always be inside a cave.
Imagínense en la mañana el sol va a nacer por el este,
Can you imagine early in the morning the sun rises from the east
entre las 5:30 de la mañana,
to 5 to 6-ish?
y los primeros rayos de luz
The first sunlight beams
va a penetrar a la madre, va a fertilizar a la madre.
will fertilize the mother,
Las cuevas son el útero de la madre.
or the uterus of the mother.
Está fertilizando todos los días, luz y sombra.
This fertilizer every day, just light and the sunshine.
Ahora, ¿qué ha podido ser este lugar? ¿Cuál era su función?
So what was the main function of this place?
Vamos a tratar de aproximarnos a la verdad posible.
We will try to approximate to the true and the really true about this.
Y si hacen un poquito de espacio, vamos a observar la parte de la...
Open it up a
De
little.
la huaca.
You see the huaca up there?
Ahí se observa la mitad de una chacana.
You can see that half of the chacana.
Pero ¿qué cosa es una chacana?
So what is it?
Chacana es dos vocablos unidos en la lengua madre, quechua.
They come from two words together combined by the Quechua language.
Chaca, puente,
Chaca means bridge.
jana, cielo.
Hana means sky.
El puente o la escalera al cielo.
So the bridge or the ladder to the sky.
Entonces, en la cosmovisión andina tenemos 4 espacios.
In the Andean cosmology, we have 4 different spaces.
El Hawapacha, que no se habla mucho acerca de ello.
The Hawapacha, not many people know about it.
Lo que tus ojos físicos ya no ven en el espacio.
What your physical eyes cannot see in this space.
La conciencia o la supraconciencia.
The conscience or the superconscious.
El Hanampacha es lo que tus ojos ven. El sol, las estrellas, las constelaciones, todo eso.
The Hanampacha is what your eyes can see. The stars, the sun, constellations.
El Keipacha es esta realidad, donde vivimos.
Keipacha is our reality, where we live.
Y el Ukupacha es la parte espiritual.
And the Ukupacha is the spiritual side.
After hundreds of years being blissfully under or below the colonialists' radar, the Peruvians decided to build a railway along the valley below. According to the story I heard, when the construction workers discovered the cave and its structures, they brought dynamite and blew the top off the structure that looks like a throne or a spaceship cockpit. Perhaps they thought they would find treasures inside, but most likely it was just a display of the official ruler's disdain of all kinds of quote-unquote idolatry. The Ñaupa Huaca cave does not in any way disturb any infrastructure in the valley below. Another holy place is Qenqo, meaning labyrinth or zigzag in Quechua. It is located just north of Cusco, a few minutes' drive from the magnificent megalithic site of Sacsayhuaman. At Qenqo, I had a sense that the whole place was charged with some extremely ancient knowledge. Qenqo is a very mysterious place. As the name suggests, there is a natural, or maybe not entirely natural, but one would think that it's mostly natural labyrinth that passes through a large rock structure with a monolith on the side and a carved zigzag channel that descends down into an underground chamber. Underneath this large rock structure, there's a cavern. In the cavern, there is a perfectly made slab of very hard stone, probably granite or andesite, with a smoothly constructed backrest-like feature. Facing the main rock formation with the labyrinth and the cavern, there are other very strangely formed rock structures where some parts look as if they've been precisely formed by humans. I mean, there are stairs and niches in them, and other parts look more crudely natural. Having walked through the labyrinth, one of the tour group participants when I was there even had the impression that the cave was the inside of some giant petrified creature because he saw structures that he interpreted as veins and other bits of tissue. Well, I wouldn't be sure of that, even if I am more and more inclined to think that anything is possible. I mean, considering how strange it is that we don't know where we were before we were born, or even where we go when we die, and that we can think freely, and that the universe is infinite, and so on and so on. Anyway, at any rate, there was a mystic feel to that place that kind of opened doors to all kinds of possibilities that the mind would dismiss as irrational as soon as you got back on the bus.
So there is the whole top of these areas are all carved. You're not allowed up there anymore, but 15 years ago we were able to go up on top, and there is a thing which is a zigzag that goes like this, but it's 2 in parallel. And it starts with a bowl on top and a bowl on the bottom. And so what it was used for was for foreseeing the future. So one of the high priests would go up there with chicha beer, or if it was super important, llama blood. It was never human blood. The Inca did not sacrifice people. The Aztecs did, the Maya did, but the Inca didn't. And so you would have a question, and you would ask the question, and then you would pour the liquid in the top, and depending on the percentage that went left or right would be your answer of yes or no, like 70% yes, 40% yes.
In this video, I will also add an iconographic feature that you run into in many places in Peru and also at other megalithic sites all around the world. Snakes. The church has had us believe that snakes represent bad things like lies, evil, and temptation. You know, properties of the devil. The most prominent example being the Adam and Eve story. But that is a reversal of ancient snake symbolism. Here in the Andes, they stand for wisdom. And in many other ancient traditions, they represent fertility and the life force. In many places in Peru, it's obvious that the Christians have done their best to scrape away snakes that have been carved into stone. But some have survived. Among important symbolic snakes in this part of the world, there is, of course, the feathered serpent, a powerful deity in ancient Mesoamerican cultures, and in the Mayan tradition, even the creator of the cosmos. Some believe that snake petroglyphs and sculptures represent something real and dramatic, which has happened a long time ago and which was incomprehensible to the people who first encountered it. Alternatively, if the original experiencers knew what it was, but were wiped out in a cataclysm, it was incomprehensible to those who survived that cataclysm and eventually had to restart civilization. All along carrying with them legends from a mysterious, distant past. If you're into the Von Daniken style explanation about extraterrestrial visitors who kickstarted civilization, you may think that the serpents represent spaceships of some kind. Or if you're into Dr. Robert Schoch's theory about numerous mini-novas, catastrophic solar outbursts as the cause of the cataclysm that wiped out that ancient civilization, you may think the serpents represent some of the strange shapes that plasma from the sun formed in the sky during those dire events. Or they simply represent snakes, which, truth be told, are some of the most mysterious animals on this planet. If you like this video and other interviews and talks on Mind the Shift, please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate all the support. And you can follow Mind the Shift on Facebook and Instagram. And you can follow me, Anders Bolling, on all the main social media and also on medium.com. Thank you.